We stand ready to negotiate with the United States. Indeed, we have offered 0 for 0 tariffs for industrial goods, as we have successfully done with many other trading partners, because Europe is always ready for a good deal, so we keep it on the table.
Oh, okay, I see. So all the flexing and all the talk about retaliation, now all of a sudden, if you're going to do a deal at the dinner table, your good deal is in the microwave. And if a good deal is proposed, you'll pull it out of the microwave because you're always ready for a good deal. No, you weren't ready for a good deal until President Trump enacted the tariffs. And now the European Union is stepping up. Look, if you saw CNN today, you would think we just launched World War III. Look at this amazing coverage. Roll the tape.
Breaking news this morning. Look out below. Take a look at U.S. stock futures. All markets on edge and dropping. These futures just took a notable turn downward again on the heels of the worst day Wall Street has seen in 5 years. Now, right now, futures aren't quite as bad as yesterday, almost as bad, but they're still not looking good at all.
I haven't seen this much coverage since the invasion of Iraq in 2003. The fact that they have every screen and every correspondent up doing a play-by-play on every eventuality. Amazing. Finally, we're getting news coverage. But here's the interesting thing. When you look at the tariffs, when you look at the controversy, not one left-wing media source is asking the expert, the actual guy out of the White House. You know why? Because they don't want the truth. They don't want the explanation. They want to spin the world into chaos, which is, let's just be honest, it's about 30% of the country that doesn't get it. Let me show you something real quick. So this is a millionaire statistic. As of 2023, approximately 22 million individuals in the U.S. had a net worth of 1 million or more, representing about 6.6% of the population. The Federal Reserve data indicates that about 18% of U.S. households are millionaires, equating to approximately 23.7 million households. Now, are you surprised? I'm surprised by that. Whoa, that's a lot of people that are wealthy. That's not the point. The point is this: wealth distribution. In the first quarter of 2024, the top 10% earners owned nearly 2/3 of the total wealth in the U.S., while the bottom held only 2.5%. So what does that tell us? I'm not one of those guys. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how wealthy people are ruining the country, because they're not. They're the ones who are starting the companies, they're taking the risk, and they're taking advantage of the current infrastructure. But here's the catch. That number, that 2.5% at the bottom, 50%, the bottom half of the country, is the reason that Donald Trump is doing this. Because the middle class does not have a fighting chance if all of the top percentage of wealth makers, I already told you the statistic, the top 10% of the earners owned nearly 2/3 of the total wealth in the U.S. What does that tell us? Well, these companies are taking advantage. They're utilizing, outsourcing all of the tax codes, all of the infrastructure, all of the ability to streamline their business, increase the profits, because our taxpayer dollars are going overseas to USAID. They're going to fraud, waste, and abuse in every government organization times nearly 600 through 11,000 different accounts. The federal government is spending recklessly. You know who's not going to get wealthier in this country based on the status quo? You, me, and the middle class. The bottom 50% will not get wealthier because we will continue to be in the same bracket. I thought the Democrats fought for the middle class. For some reason, they have angst and issues with all the things that are transpiring, even though the entire objective, which is a long-term objective, is to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. Let's get some perspective from the subject matter expert that was on Fox. This is the only place these guys are going to be because nobody else wants to talk to these guys on why we are doing what we are doing. Roll the tape.
It's great to have you this morning. We're so looking forward to hear your perspective and to get some clarity.
Sure. The first rule, particularly for the smaller investors out there, you can't lose money unless you sell. And right now, the smart strategy is not to panic, just stay in. because we are going to have the biggest boom in the stock market we've ever seen under the Trump policies. We will find a bottom in this market quickly. We will hit 50,000 on the Dow easily by the end of this term.
Or not, because that's what the left is proposing. They're actually not proposing anything. They have no plans. They have no strategy. The only strategy they have is to go against Trump, say that Trump is bad, and they have no policy to back it up. At the same time, gas prices and oil prices are going down. We didn't have this catastrophic Monday like everybody was expecting. What we did have was 50 different countries step to the plate, including Europe, and say, hey, let's talk about this. Let's come to the negotiating table. And here's what Trump had to say about it. Countries from all over the world are talking to us. Tough but fair. Parameters are being set. Spoke to the Japanese prime minister this morning. He is sending a top team to negotiate. He wrote the book, The Art of the Deal. He knows exactly what he's doing, but we don't have the tactical patience. So it takes 40 plus years to really screw this up. Now they have an expectation that this is going to happen overnight after 4 years of incontinence. I didn't misspeak. Incontinence. Like the dude was in a diaper. We had nothing accomplished. CNN wasn't pulling out the big screens then, so the media's national trust is an all-time low. The same reason the Democrats' approval rating are at an all-time low. Oh, by the way, burning down companies that are making vehicles in America, making American jobs. Okay, let me show you something real quick. Let me show you this picture that I pulled up from China. So this picture is a picture of China's gridlock. You recognize any American vehicles in this picture? The answer is no. And this is an AI. This is an actual picture taken from gridlock in China. The answer is no. An easy way to understand this a little bit, because it's a complicated situation. I love how the economic experts are coming out of the woodwork and saying this is the worst thing ever, but they have no solution nor policy. They just say it's the worst thing ever. History will tell us if it's the worst thing ever. I have a feeling we're going to run into the same thing we did before, where a lot of people are talking out of their rear ends, but they're going to be proved wrong. So let's show this picture right here. This is a picture of LA gridlock. You notice anything about this picture? Well, I could name 2 or 3 American-made vehicles. Notice something common to all on the streets of America? Yeah, every vehicle, every product. Go to your local Walmart. Every single product, 80% of that store is made overseas, mostly in China. Now, we had this stance, this virtue signaling going on in the country. Everybody was demanding American made, American made. Now we're taking the steps to actually make that happen. And everybody's like, this is the dumbest plan ever. Everybody had this beef against Chinese made. Now all of a sudden, like everybody's saying like, oh, these Chinese motorcycles and these Chinese clothes, they're not so bad. What? Let's go to Truth Social and show you what President Trump said about China. He said, yesterday, China issued retaliatory tariffs of 34% on top of their already record-setting tariffs. Non-monetary tariffs, illegally subsidizing of companies, massive long-term currency manipulation, despite my warning that any country that retaliates against us by issuing additional tariffs. Guys, this is additional tariffs on top, above and beyond their already existing long-term tariff abuse. If they're adding on top of that, well, then that's retaliatory. Tariffs on China will be 50% effective April 9th. Additionally, all talks with China concerning their requested meetings with us will be terminated. Have you seen the global markets? Do you know who's being dramatically impacted by this? China. So America, as the main consumer, has all the leverage. We have all the leverage. We are proposing fair, reciprocal tariffs. Why is that hard to understand? And why is the left, the Democrats, so bent out of shape of bringing American jobs back? Even the labor unions are messaging to Tim Walz and AOC and Bernie Sanders and saying, what are you guys doing? Like, we typically support the Dems, and you guys are against the policy that's bringing American jobs back? We're going to see how that works out for you. The answer is it's not going to work out for you. I'm headed off to the underground, patreon.com/Mike Glover. Till next time, peace out.